Welcome to this lecture. So in this lecture, I'll show you how you can do clustering algorithm or one of a machine learning classification algorithm using satellite data on Earth Engine Python API. So this is some housekeeping, importing some Earth Engine Folium and G-Hydro package and authenticating those. Let me just execute those for safety. In case you have not done so, just please do so to make sure that you have Earth Engine and some of these libraries already installed. Okay, so the main part of our lecture is here. We'll run a clustering machine learning algorithm using a Landsat data. So the first thing is to import study area. In this case, I'll import the global country's boundary and filter by one country, in this case Egypt. So our classification will be done for the country Egypt. Okay, and then I'll also import the Landsat data. In this case, I'll use Landsat 7 for the year 2001. Okay, so I have study area, my Landsat image, and a region of interest. So this region of interest is to generate some sample training data. So I'll generate this region or geometry by calling ee.geometry.rectangle. So it will generate a rectangle using this coordinate information, and I can also display my region of interest if I'm interested. Not really that much important. So this part of the script takes this region of interest, the rectangle, and generates data points, sample points. Okay, and so region is this rectangle, and the spatial scale is 30 meter, and the number of data points or training samples that will be generated will be 5,000. You can change this number. Okay, and next I'll run the clustering algorithm to initiate the cluster and train it. So the first thing is to initiate the cluster. This part of the script will initiate the cluster by declaring a cluster. This is just a name so that I can remember. You can name it differently. So ee.cluster.weka-Kemins Kemins algorithm, and I'll define the n to 15. And the other thing is, once I generate this clustering, once I initiate this cluster, I'll need to train it. So my training sample is here, which I generated 5,000 data points within this rectangle. So I'll provide that as an input. So that means I have established or initiated my model, the clustering model. And after that, I will apply this clustering model to my Landsat data. Okay, the image that I imported here. So it's input, right? So result is equal to input.cluster. That means it will apply this cluster algorithm to this image, so that I'll have a classified image. So I'll call this cluster here as an input, and finally I'll display my result. This should be a map, a cluster, classified map using unsupervised classification. So clustering algorithm is one of the popular unsupervised classification. So, and I'll display that result clip to Egypt so that I can focus to my study area and name it cluster. Okay, I'll go ahead and execute this part of the script, and now it's creating a sample, training a sample using the region of interest, and generating the model cluster and applying the model to the Landsat image, and finally generating a classified image. and the end, I'll display my clustering result. Excellent. So I have a few things here. So the first thing is I have a region of interest where I used to train a data point, okay? And the other one is my clustering classification for Egypt, okay? So this is unsupervised classification automatically by using K-means clustering algorithm using a Python API. So it's automatically classifying some uniform or homogeneous pixels together. And you might ask, like, what's the use of this clustering algorithm or classification or unsupervised classification? Because it's a machine-based classification, it helps you to kind of stratify your training into your training data that can be used for supervised classification, and also it can inform your processing or workflow for a supervised classification. So this is how you can implement unsupervised classification or a clustering algorithm specifically on Earth Engine using a Python API.